Hey, this is Russell back again with today's post commentary of Civilization 5 gameplay. Yeah, pretty pumped to do this recording because it's been, for me personally, it's been 3 weeks since I've done like any kind of work or recording for the YouTube channel. It's been hectic, and I'm glad to finally be able to sit down and watch the gameplay that I had before and chillax and commentate over it. So I love doing this, and it's one of those things that I messed around with it. When I was like 18ish years old, like around high school, at the end of high school, and I just ignored it completely throughout college. And now that I'm like a graduate of that and all of that, I found it's a pretty fun hobby. So long as I don't like put too much effort into it and just kind of keep it low effort and chillaxed. I've been enjoying it a lot. It's been really cool to see it when like someone like comments here or there and in the gameplay and gives feedback. And this is my first time uploading the Civ 5 series, but I've had a very positive experience uploading like the Civ 3 and other Civ games as well. Civ 3 in particular has been really good because it's a game that I haven't played in a long time. And going back to that game, people have been able to give me advice on how to play it again. Civ 5 I've played a lot more recently and played it probably a lot more hours in general than Civ 3. And I haven't had much advice this game. I assume because I'm doing things better in this game. And if anything, I've been able to give more advice throughout the series than I would in a Civ 3 game. Um, but yeah, it's been fun to record these. Um, Looking at wonders and stuff. I'm queuing up these wonders, the wonders that are less important to me in these other like secondary cities, like Athens. The more important wonders like Notre Dame, I'm building in Constantinople because it's a very important wonder. The whole plus 10 happiness thing is really going to help grow our cities. We're sitting at -1 happiness. We do have luxuries that are not hooked up to the network yet, so that is going to get fixed. And then if we can get Notre Dame on top of that, we'll be able to grow the population in our cities much more. Um, and with things like aqueducts and, of course, the science buildings like libraries, which give us science per pop, um, we're going to become very powerful, very advanced, and hopefully do very well. So that's the goal. Don't want to spoil too much how this series is going to turn out, but yeah, we're well on the path to becoming remaining dominant throughout the game. Of course, right now we're double the score of almost double the score of everyone else, with the exception of Poland. Um, Poland's got a pretty interesting starting location in this game. I've seen them flourish, and I've seen them do really badly. I played Poland once on a deity game on this map, and it was really challenging because Germany would be constantly attacking me, and all the while Russia would be colonizing like on the land to my right and growing in power. And so I was able to stay up par with like, Germany throughout the whole game, have like a similar sized military, push them back, even like take a city and stuff. Um but it just gave Russia the room to get like way too advanced, and because you're sandwiched between like so many different factions and all of that, and you have like the city states to the south, so that makes it a little annoying to expand down there. You don't have like a lot of room to expand because you're boxed in pretty much by like the Swedes in the north. In my case, I didn't have gods and kings, so it was just some random civ. But yeah, you're very boxed in if you can't expand out properly into like the Russian heartland and stuff like that. I think I had like 6 cities throughout like most of the game, maybe 7, as that Polish, and that's just not enough on this map. You really need a lot more if you're going to be ahead of everyone else. And because of that, the Russians were able to pull forward. And while I was fighting the Germans. They attacked me from behind, and that was game over for me pretty much. I just kind of left the game at that point. I could have like dragged it on, maybe like lost the city and lived, but you know, at that time I was so set back that someone else would have won by like a different victory. I didn't have too much chance to make a comeback. And it's really hard to win like a diplomatic victory in this map, and I kind of prefer that just because you know the how spaced out like all the city states are, how annoying it is to try to discover each and every single one of them. Uh, the need to get all of like the things like the world religion and all of that. It's much harder to get it on like huge maps like this where it's not you can't discover all the city states by you know, boat. And yeah, so very and I kind of prefer that, you know, it's nice to see like the other victories come into play and stuff like that than diplomatic victory. Diplomatic victory is usually the easiest on like a standard like continents map. It's very easy to get a diplomatic victory if you focus it down. And so it's nice to see other victories, you know, come into play in this game. So yeah, right now we are just going around building up everything that we need to build up, queuing buildings, making our workers put everything together in a road network, and most importantly, improving luxury resources. We still have buildings that we can build to increase our happiness in some cities. We still have buildings we can build to increase our other outputs like science and culture and stuff like that. We are making a very good amount of culture per turn, considering the point in the game that we're at. And yeah, there's nothing to really be upset about. We're not lacking in anything. We're doing pretty well. As our religion spreads, we're going to be just making more and more money because we have all of those wealth bonuses. And you know, that's the goal. So I think a lot of this episode is going to be dedicated to spreading our religion, you know, getting profits and stuff to do that. And yeah, we did get the Notre Dame, so our happiness is sitting at a whopping 15 now, which means our cities have a ton of room to grow. And of course, because the cities over there don't have a lot of tile improvements like that can be built in terms of things like farms, it's going to take a little while for them to grow. We can always help them with trade routes and stuff like that, internal trade routes. But yeah, other than that, and you know, internal trade routes is really the best to go. I don't think I've done a single non-internal trade route this game. I do need to build like to my max trade routes. I just got like a fifth one just now that I can build. But yeah, you can see we're making a whopping like 220 free gold, and a lot of that is because of religion, but still, we're still making a whopping like 230 gold now. We unfortunately lost our prophet there. I think that was a prophet, or it wasn't a missionary, I don't remember. But yeah, we lost that dude. So unfortunately we can't keep spreading our religion there. So yeah, not much of a need for external trade routes at all. In fact, the internal ones are going to be the best for us. More pop is just going to lead to more stuff in general. I sometimes do it, like get like the production internal trade routes, but the whole population thing is way better throughout the whole game. And usually if I do production, it's like close to the end of the game, or if I really need to focus on the wonder. Like I'm really insecure about a wonder in the early game. And yeah, we're looking pretty good. Got a whopping 15 pop in Constantinople, and we're only going up really fast there, which is comfortable. We could actually go ahead and purchase a couple more internal trade routes. That's something I could be doing. Sometimes I lose track of getting like the internal trade routes, especially in this era, because you go up really fast in the amount of trade routes you're allowed to have at around this time period. And it's very easy to get distracted by like doing all of like the worker tasks and buildings and stuff. Very rarely in games do I let the AI do like automated workers. And usually when I do it in Prince games like these, but just because I'm doing this for YouTube and stuff like that, I wanted to do everything by myself. Really, show how to play the game. And you see it's working pretty hard. Of course, next game I'm going to bump up the difficulty past Prince. Prince, if you don't know, is like the standard difficulty, where everyone's just kind of on par with each other. So I will bump it up like a couple difficulty levels higher for the next gameplay that I'll record for Civ 5. But I just wanted to do a Prince game just to kind of show, where I'm at. At the same time, I didn't want to like lose the first game that I uploaded on YouTube. So I was just kind of like, let's just play a Prince game, nice, relaxed game. And you can see I'm doing decently well. I'm not amazing at Civ 5, I have like my opinions on how the game should be played, and some of them are probably pretty optimal, while others are probably less optimal. Like I don't see a lot of people do what I do, where they go both Liberty, Tradition, like almost every game and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't really know. It's hard to measure myself up against other people if, I don't play a lot of multiplayer. I have occasionally played multiplayer, but it's never been like with like, very organized. Like I'll just join random games and play it that way. And a lot of the people that you'll just meet randomly aren't really the greatest at the game. Like I've seen like much more competitive multiplayer games on YouTube before, and so I'll just like join like a random multiplayer game, and it'll just be like this like poor like little guy who doesn't really know what they're doing, and just gets like wrecked in like the first couple eras. So yeah, not really been challenged too much in multiplayer before, and that's just because I've never gone really out of my way and found people to play with who would challenge me. So maybe one day I want to go that route, find people to challenge myself with. Maybe I could even I don't know, organize some people who like maybe like comment in these videos and stuff like that. Organize one day a game that we could play online, and maybe some of you guys who are watching are better at the game than I am. And that could be really fun. I'd love to challenge myself. I love playing people that are better at the game than me, so that I can get better at the game. And yeah, so maybe that would be something fun to organize one day. When it comes to Civ 3, I'm not looking to challenge myself at multiplayer versus yet too much. That being said, I am actually playing like a multiplayer game with a friend who like recently bought the game, and I am recording it just in case I did want to upload it to YouTube. We'll see how good the footage is and all of that. So that could be fun. I just realized I need to not do that. Okay. And yeah, if you did hear a bit of an echo, I just realized I was recording the desktop audio during this thing, so I have to be like perfect lining up my voice with this, if that's not going to be an issue. So I just turned off the desktop recording. So now the audio echo will either go away or the audio just won't be as loud in the video. We'll see. Anyways, if that probably made no sense, yeah. What I do is I play the game, I play the recording on my desktop, and then I use like OBS just like to record my voice, and I just looked over, I realized I had both desktop audio and OBS recording my mic on, which is not good because, obviously I'm watching this right now and it was recording the audio of this recording, but it shouldn't be an issue if I'm able to perfectly line up the audio. So we'll see if I can do that, or if there's going to be a bit of an echo for the first half of the video. If there is, I'm sorry about that. Athens is becoming a very good city. Very, very built up. Of course, we didn't get the Alhambra, I think, what it was. I think I saw someone else build it, but I wasn't really going hard for it. I could have built the Alhambra, actually. I already haven't been paying too much attention. Again, I kind of just been gushing. Uh, so sorry about if there's a little bit of a lack of commentary, engaging commentary for the gameplay. I'll focus on that a bit more. You can see I'm looking at what buildings to build. I had to eventually opt for a library. I don't need like a Coliseum right now, and I don't need money right now because I have most of those. So if there's not like any particular need in terms of like if you're getting your policies fast enough, if you're getting enough gold, if you have enough happiness, so on and so forth, you usually want to opt for science buildings. Well, first growth buildings, and then I'd say the need to get production and science buildings are about on par with each other, in terms of importance. So, yeah. And then after that comes all the rest of them. Again, assuming that you're not lacking in anything. You always want to consider what pips you're getting at the top. If like you're only getting your social policies really slowly, you really want to make sure you increase your culture. Just because, social policies just give you everything. Like they affect everything. And the more of them you can get throughout a game, the better you're just going to play the game. Gold, of course, you need in order to maintain everything. Happiness you need in order to maintain the growth. All those growth buildings are useless unless you have the happiness to support it as well. And then, science is probably the most important thing to get. And production's really important too, if you just ignore the production buildings throughout the whole game, then your late game is really gonna slow down your progress because the amount of production that everything costs in the late game is way more. And usually techs help with that a lot. You get like I think it's chemistry where you get like more techs from like mines and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah. There's a save game there. I forgot to cut that out of the footage. Usually I do that, but oh well. And got a conversion on that city. And we're looking at doing... What is it? There we go. Harbor. Interesting choice, Russell. Not sure I would have picked that choice now. I can see why I did a harbor, though. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I accept that choice. A harbor is fine. Russell approved. Queued up a thing in Annie. Little Anakin, of course. That guy died because of, like, the attrition. You do get, like, a little bit of, like, attrition in your cities, and with your dudes, if you're not welcome inside that city. We're going down the commerce tree now, which is going to be really good for us. Lanchinecks are pretty useful in a bind. And paired with honor, Lanchinecks are really good, because in honor you get like bonus, I think it's bonus culture and happiness for every like garrison unit in a city. So like mass purchasing like Lanchinecks to be like city garrisons can be very good because they're really cheap and stuff like that. So commerce and honor are a very good combination if you're playing an honor game. Playing with the honor tree, man, there's situations where it's like amazing and situations where it's just like kind of useless. Actually on this map there is like a big problem with like just hordes of barbarians in places like Morocco and Arabia and stuff like that, just because of like all like the open land that's there. And so going the honor tree on those factions like Carthage and Morocco and stuff like that is actually really good on this map. Like especially with like Morocco, you have like just like a ton of horsemen going around like killing tons of barbarians, like pretty much the whole game. And you get a lot of culture from that, as well as just in general being doing good. And actually, maybe like a honor liberty play as like the Moroccans or Carthage on this map would probably be best. Just forego tradition. There's nothing you can live without tradition. Um, you can also live without liberty. You can choose like tradition or liberty. I think I'd just prefer liberty though on a map like this, just because of like all the places you would want to expand to. If you're Carthage or Morocco, there's a lot of land down in Africa to expand to, Northern Africa. And yeah, you would want the large amount of cities to do that. We got a great writer. Again, we're not really focusing too hard on the great peoples, like through the early game, but we'll focus more and more on it as the game goes throughout it. And yeah, it's very convenient to get them. Get extra plus a couple culture a turn, as well as tourism. We do have +4 tourism, and not an amazing amount at the beginning of the game. Like, it's obviously not like culture victory crazy. You want to have like a little bit of tourism throughout the whole game, because especially when you get to the ideology stage, if you are like one of the best in terms of tourism, then you are going to be able to put a debuff on anyone who doesn't have your ideology. Or else, if other people are more influential with you than you are with them, then you're going to be suffering happiness issues because of your ideology. So yeah, we'll see. I know I played 2 games at this point that I'm going to be uploading to YouTube. I know one of the games I was getting big ideological debuffs because I didn't have enough tourism, and another one I was well ahead, so I did. I was the one that had like perfect happiness and was giving debuffs to other people. I don't remember which game was which, so I guess we'll see with this game later on once we get to ideologies if I was the one that was ahead or if other people were in that regard. We'll see. I guess in a Prince game you don't really have to do way too much to be ahead too. While in higher difficulties, if you really want to be ahead, you do. We're doing a pretty good job at spreading our religion. We have another great prophet now to spread to other places, as well as, we're spreading it deep into Europe. And looking at Karakorum, Moscow, and stuff like that, there's not a lot of religion in that area yet. So the hope is that, if I just bring my great prophet there and just convert like 4 cities, we'll have like a little island for our religion that will allow it to spread at a decent rate in that region. I'd really have to keep following up over and over again if I really wanted to spread it to that whole area. It'd be a lot of work and probably not worth it. It's always better to find ways to take the religion and improve your own area with it first, like focus down pagodas and stuff like that. But I think I've pretty much gone through and gotten all of that stuff already. At this point, it's a matter of just using what faith I have till the Renaissance era, industrial era, my bad. So if you don't know the way religion works, up to the Renaissance era, you can only really like purchase inquisitors, missionaries, and any like special buildings you have. Plus, whenever you reach a certain threshold, the game automatically forces you to purchase a great prophet. Like, you can't like opt to not purchase a great prophet yet once you reach that threshold. So there's no real way to save up your faith beyond like a certain threshold up until like through the Renaissance era. Once you hit the industrial era, you can save your faith indefinitely for great people in the late game, and you're going to want to do that at that point. So you'll stop spending your faith on anything except for like pagodas in the late game. But in this early game, you're going to basically be getting like great prophets or missionaries and stuff like that while you wait to get to that era. And it's an interesting mechanic. At the end of the day, yeah, it's just interesting. I go ahead and upgrade my people to pikemen there to combat those pikemen, because spearmen versus pikemen aren't really ideal. do have a new trade route, so we're working on the trade route slowly but surely. Um, and yeah, so we got free trade routes. Do have to get more though. It's important that we get up to 5. Probably should be building another trade caravan or trade caravel instead of like a zoo or that city. But oh well, trade caravan because you can't do it. Whatchamacallit? Uh, cargo ship. You may be asking why I'm bothering with caravans when I can do cargo ships. There are a couple cities inland that aren't going to ever be able to reach uh, the cargo ships, and it is worth getting caravans for them. You may think it's more efficient to just go cargo ships and just improve the populations of the cities that are on the coast. Um, but because the cost like for food is going to go up for like those cities in order to like the threshold for food is going to go up eventually, and you'll kind of like reach a cap for that. Um, you won't be able to get like 100% efficient growth for it like throughout the whole game if you just went cargo ships. Of course, unless of course you settled all of your cities on the coast, which you can do that. I think I could have done that this game, like just gone for coastal cities completely. I didn't, so it was worth getting like one or two trade caravans to cover up like those cities in that area. You see me going through renaming some of these cities now. I think I just pulled up like a map, like on Google, like of the Byzantine Empire, and just started like renaming like the ones in like the different areas. Bye bye Annie. You are now Darth Chandex. And yeah, going through and just renaming stuff. We'll see how I mean, it's not going to be perfectly accurate because the map that I had didn't have like every single little village marked. It just kind of had like a few cities, so I was just kind of doing like a general like city or even like regions. I think I like named some places. Amarium. There you go. That's of course going to be Antioch. I didn't even have to probably look at a map to see that. And we got Laodicea here. Interesting. Edessa, of course, is going to have to be changed to, I think, like Cyprus or something. Or Nicosia, there we go. Yeah, Edessa would have been, like, more so out into, I believe, the desert east of Antioch, if I'm not wrong. Or maybe it's on the coast south of Antioch. I forget. It's been a minute since I've looked at, like, Crusader maps and stuff like that. So yeah, we got slightly more accurate city locations. Of course, like Corinth is a little far west for like where it's at and stuff like that. But it's all nice. It's all just the general spirit of where locations and stuff like that, rather than exact locations. It just gives that little tiny bit of extra immersion. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Getting near the end of the episode. Like, comment, favorite, subscribe if you guys want to see more. You guys have a good one. God bless. Like, favorite, and subscribe if you guys want to see more. Always interested in your feedback down in the comment section. You guys have a good one. God bless.